Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, episode number 6427 of Watch What Happens in Europe and Get Ready for It to Come Here. In the last 24 hours, we've seen two different countries do two different things that both should open our eyes a little bit, because most of us here have been watching the clown show that is the Biden campaign collapsing, the fallout from the Supreme Court decision yesterday, and all the idiotic comments coming out of people like Zoe Lofgren and Harry Sisson and all the other morons on the left who think that the Supreme Court just allowed for assassinations in the country. No, sorry. Going to have a hard time saying that's an official act. No. These are things that directly affect us, we the people. Let's start with what came out of Finland yesterday. Finland is the first country to roll out a, get this, vaccination campaign against bird flu. Okay? They are focusing on individuals aged 18 and over that work in high-risk areas, such as poultry farms, such as fur farms, and other people who have close contact with animals. I don't know, maybe that means they work in a pet store or the ASPCA, or, oh my God, they have dogs at home. Yeah, I guess bird flu must be a real problem in Finland, because as of today, they have exactly 0 cases of bird flu in human beings in Finland. But let's roll out a vaccine campaign. Just saying. Okay. Do you think Joe might want to roll out something like that here? Told you last week about one of y'all telling me about the bank they go to already marking off the floor again for 6 feet social distancing. How long is it going to take until the plexiglass is back up? How long is it going to take before they tell us to wear masks again? We don't know. Maybe never. But if you're in Finland, at least so far, that's coming. Okay? They've already said that's going to happen. The campaign there is part of the EU's effort, the entire European Union, to procure 40 million doses of it across 15 countries, buying it from that great bastion of democracy lately, Australia. Okay? Just get ready. It ain't going to be too long until we start hearing rumblings of that. And of course, along with it, get out, vote early, and mail in your ballot so you don't have to have contact with somebody else. Got it. But that's the little one. Let's take a look at what was announced this morning from Norway, another Scandinavian country. Norway is going to stockpile 82,500 tons of grain to prepare for famine and war. Joe's other great thing that he's got us all involved in, Ukraine. Now, Norway is one of the many countries that is supporting Ukraine in this whole idiotic Eastern European war. Okay. Norway said they're not necessarily worried about Russia attacking them, though who knows how that one goes, okay? Because, of course, according to the Biden administration, Putin has plans to basically take over Europe, right? Okay. We have to stand by before Putin becomes the next Adolf Hitler, because he wants to control the world. If anybody still believes Joe. End of quote. If you saw his speech yesterday, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A couple of days removed from the debacle that was the debate, Joe was reading off his teleprompter yesterday about the Supreme Court's decision, and after he mentioned what Sonia Sotomayor said, his comment was, end of quote. Again. Okay, no. Sidebar there. But Norway is not expecting Russia to invade. More or less, they're figuring that if something happens, it's going to disrupt the fuel that they get. and again, Norway, just like everybody else, gets a lot of the natural gas via all the pipelines that go all over the place through Europe. They're expecting some of that to get shut off. And so, of course, then that causes a problem, let alone all the comments on fertilizer and everything else that is a byproduct. But let's remember where Norway is. Norway's Scandinavia. Norway's north. Norway gets cold in the winter. They're pretty good at the skiing in the Winter Olympics, right? Because they do it for about 8 months a year. Yeah, natural gas is very important to them. Heat is very important to them. Food is very important to everybody. So they are going to stock 82,500 tons of grain at about 30 different silos or sites, multiple silos, obviously, all across Norway. And of course, the government will maintain control of the food. Now, how could that play into the United States? Imagine that. Our government, hypothetically, says, we're going to stockpile hundreds of thousands of tons of grain. After all, we are a much bigger country. And the government would own all the food. Think about that. This is what Norway is doing. They are stockpiling all the grain and maintaining the control over it. The government controls the food. Anybody ever heard the old quote, "He who controls the food"? Right? That one? You guys know that quote. Well, if the Norwegian government controls the food, if the United States government controls the food, I'm sorry, Mr. Pinball, you've already taken your allotment of 1 pound of grain for the week. Right? I mean, let's think about that. How many tons of food do we need to keep 350 million people in the country fed? It's a lot, okay? Population of Norway and anywhere close to the population of the United States. It's just another thing that you need to watch. If they're trying it there, and remember, Bernie Sanders all the time, we need to follow the examples of the Scandinavian countries. They make democratic socialism work with their 60 and 70% tax and the government controlling everything. Yeah. And again, remember who Joe beat in the primaries in 2020. Hint, it wasn't Hillary Clinton, okay? If Joe drops out and it ain't Kamala, I keep saying, Bernie's still a chance because that was who the people wanted. You start thinking, granted, this is all happening in Europe, and granted, I'm speculating on stuff like that. But there's a lot of things that we've all speculated on that miraculously have come true. I don't know. For example, $2,400 an ounce gold. I remember saying that. That was supposed to be by the end of the year. That happened by the end of May. All sorts. Remember all the speculation we had about our 2019-2020 buddy. And hey, we were called crazy conspiracy theorists then, right? I'm still alive and I don't have myocarditis. How about you? Just saying. Pay attention to this stuff, okay? What's going on with the bird flu shot could be coming to us. It would not surprise me. And if we go through a whole thing again about making it mandatory, I don't know, maybe you have that Blue Cross Blue Shield worker in Tennessee here who could tell you how she fared with that one. They just had to write her a check for $700,000 for firing her. Yeah. But the food side of things, keep putting it up. Keep putting it away. Because if Norway's stocking 82,500 tons, and the population of Norway is about 20%, I think, of what the United States is, now you're starting to talk about what do we need to have? 500,000 tons? And again, what's that going to get each person? Start looking at this. Keep putting the food away. ramp it up. Mrs. P and I were just out buying, what did I get, another 60 pounds of sugar this morning, adding that to the kitty. Keep adding, keep stocking, keep prepping, keep paying attention, because all this stuff that's going on is heading our way soon. Pinball out.